Next item is the village manager employment. And this evening, I received the resignation of Anne Marie Gora as village manager for the village of Montgomery. After 12 years of service to the citizens of Montgomery, Anne Marie has decided to pursue other career opportunities. And we've been advised by our attorney not to discuss details. And with that, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve of the resignation agreement.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Take the
Discussion?
roll.
Discussion, please.
Discussion, okay.
Since I wasn't in and Matt wasn't in on this discussion, I guess, where are we planning to get the money to pay for this agreement? Mainly because we just talked about the public hearing of the annual budget, and I didn't hear any of you four say where we're getting this money.
It's in our agreement, how we're paying her out.
I said, where are we getting it in the budget? I'm not saying where you writing her a check, I understand that, and nothing to do with her. I'm asking where in the budget are we getting this money? Is it this year's budget, last year's budget?
We'll ask Director Zolfel.
Have not seen the agreement, so I can't fully address the question. If it is coming out of this year's budget, it would
This
come out
year's.
of fund balance in the general fund.
Right.
If it's coming out of next year's budget includes 12 months of salary and benefits for Manager Gora. When we did the budget, we budgeted for that position, so there's a year's worth in next year's budget.
Okay.
Okay, how about, who's gonna do the duties that she does every day? I mean, what are we planning on doing with, development coming in? What are we planning on doing with, union negotiations?
Well, I think you're jumping the gun here because I do have another motion. So I have a motion on the floor and a second. But if you want more discussion, general discussion, we were asked not to discuss details.
I'm not discussing
I
details.
know you're not. but
Nothing to
I'm
do with
saying-
her. I'm asking where this is
Okay.
becoming. Nobody has heard this. I'm just asking, am I legal asking this? This is strictly, right.
Fine so far.
Fine so far, that's what I'm saying. So
Okay.
I'm waiting for an answer. I mean, these guys all came and surprised me immediately, so I want to know where you four, when you talked about it, where'd you come up with it? But I can see right now, nobody's talkative. I mean, it's going to be one of these things that we just approved the annual operating budget, and I'll bet you it's not going to be the same come a week from now when nobody's here. Then everybody's going to say, well, let's change everything. So I guess it's the way it is.
Well, when you're talking about this kind of money, it's upwards of $150,000 that the village is going to have to dish out for this. And where does it come from? What gets cut? We were going to get 3 squad cars this year. Is that going to get cut? Did anybody think about this before we jump? That what are we going to do tomorrow? What are our employees going to do tomorrow when they walk in the village? Who's going to be responsible for this kind of stuff? I'm extremely opposed to the process that all of this happened outside of the boardroom, discussions about the position. I understand we can't talk about the person particularly, but people out here have questions and raise good questions and need answers. We can't just go and spend $185,000 just because we figured we could get rid of her now. And people hemmed and hawed about our SSA tax that we levied, and that was $200,000. So this is equal to that.
I guess what I'd like to do is have an answer like on union negotiations. I don't see anybody in our village that handled union negotiations with Ann. Rachel did, but, I mean, Ann handled most of the negotiations of what the board wanted. It was nice. I do not like letters from a statement from a trustee saying, well, that's the problem, the unions don't like us. Well, to me, that is a complete farce because we're supposed to be management and they're employees. We're not supposed to take the side of the employees in union negotiations. And when you make a quote like that in the paper, to me, it makes the trustees all look stupid. But
What topic are we discussing now?
what are we going to do, okay?
Well, we have
Have to
several
address
more meetings where we
the-
can discuss
address
that.
the chairman here. And I do have a motion on the floor and a second, and I need to take a vote.
I have one more comment I'd like to make.
Okay, comment.
Somebody anonymously quoted that she makes too much money in the Beacon, and somebody very publicly stated that on Patch. Oswego, just down the road, who we seem to be mimicking very closely lately, just hired an administrator for $135,000 base pay, which is very similar to what we have here. So I don't think we've done any research on this kind of thing, and we're just going to go and jump without a parachute. I'm extremely opposed to it. Thank you.
Okay, I still have a motion on the floor and a second. And at this point, could I call the question? I call the question. Take the roll.
Yay.
Trustee Browdy.
No.
Trustee Keck.
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir.
Yay.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
No.
Okay, it's 4-2. The motion carries. We approve the resignation agreement. Now, my next motion is to appoint Jeff Zolfo as acting village administrator, and I would like a motion for this.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is
just-
there any discussion?
Yes, there is. Regarding development in the village, I'm extremely concerned now. We don't have a manager. We don't have a community development director. We don't have a senior planner anymore. We don't have a planning consultant that the board recently failed their proposal. Our only planner has a few years' experience, and the lady in charge of that department has a few years' experience, but not in development. What do we do tomorrow morning when a big box retailer wants to come into Montgomery? What's our plan? What kind of message do we send to them tomorrow that we're still here and still open for business?
Well, we're not spectators in this process. The village elected us to manage situations like you're describing, and I suspect that we will.
They didn't elect us to be managers.
To be advisors.
Okay? However you choose to phrase it.
I don't think your background in planning is, or any of us, is worth two hoops to hop, you know?
I don't think we're the,
Lee, would you address the board chair?
Never mind.
Okay. So is there any other discussion?
call for a vote?
I call, okay. We'll call the roll, please.
Trustee Bond.
Yes.
Trustee Lee.
Yes.
Trustee Hines.
Yay.
Trustee Browdy.
Yes.
Trustee Keck.
Yes.
Trustee Kazmir.
Yay.
And the motion is approved. Is there any new or unfinished business to come before the board this evening?
I'm just glad we can send a message to the residents that we have a clear and defined path for the future. It seems like we really don't know what we're doing right now.
I object to that. There's no evidence we don't know what we're doing. That's kind of
Nobody
hysterical,
said
man.
anything. When you ask questions, nobody says a word. The four of
And
you
I'm
don't say
sorry,
anything.
you know, the two of us were kind of laid out of this, so go ahead. I mean, if you got the answers, let's hear some of the answers, so we can all hear it.
Well,
You don't have any answers right now.
I don't
do you?
think hysteria is going to help us
I'm
much,
not
and that's what
talking
I'm
about
hearing.
hysteria.
Well, I am.
Right.
People are going to
Oh,
read this in the
hysteria.
paper
I'll
tomorrow, and they're not going to know.
Okay, well, there's how our discussions go. I'm finished with that one.
Okay. Is there any new or unfinished?
I have the utmost confidence in Jeff and Jamie and the rest of the staff that they'll function just fine.
Thank
That's-
you.
I believe they'll do an excellent job.
Is there any other comments or any other new or
I
unfinished?
think Jeff will be able to handle that job.
Jeff can handle the
Very
job
well.
very, very nicely.